Welcome to More Than a Parent, a podcast exploring who we are and what we want outside of being a parent, so we can create an integrated lifestyle with impact both in and out of our homes. I'm Caz Gaddis, and I invite you to join me to be your more, live your and. Hey, and welcome to another episode of More Than a Parent. I'm Caz Gaddis, and I am trying to somewhat whisper because my house is filled with toddlers. Help. It's my daughter's birthday today, and we have her and her best friend who's 2 weeks older, and then also, of course, our 4-month-old at the time, if you're listening to this, in February 2020. How to think about what year and what month we're in. It's been a fun few days. Y'all, if anyone listening to this has more than 2 kids, like I have 2 kids, but if you have more than that, if you even have 1, it's amazing. But man, when you have multiples and like they're needing you in multiple ways, that is a whole new level. So much appreciate you for tuning in today. So what I wanted to share, it's going to be a short and sweet episode, really just celebrating my parentversary, but also celebrating yours, right? How many birthdays have you had with your kids, and have you celebrated who it is that you are? That's what this episode is, just a reminder and a little nudge, if you will, to remind you to celebrate you in this, because man, I remember our first birthday for Sky, which was last year on this date on February 3rd. It was her birthday, but for me, I was celebrating like the victory of we've kept her alive for a year. And we've survived. So just take time, all jokes aside, to just thank yourself and just revisit the memories, revisit the challenges, because that's what at the end of the day really helps the celebration, is looking at, we overcame this, or I remember when, this was a challenge with her, or when we as a family were going through such and such. And that's what our parentversary celebration is about. If you are following us on Instagram, our handle is at More Than a Parent. I'll have it in the show notes. I did a tribute series of posts on there as well, celebrating her, celebrating parentversary in general, celebrating us as parents. And so check it out. Let me know what you think. In today's show, I wanted to talk about the becoming and the unbecoming. You might be saying, Caz, what does that mean? And what I've noticed from my own experience and from talking to other moms has been that there's this series of unbecoming moments, and then there's these other opportunities of becoming for us as a mom. Immediately when we become pregnant, again, everyone's experience is amazing and is different. And also too, keeping in mind, not all of us birthed our kids. We could have adopted or fostered our kids or had a surrogate. Regardless, the moment of them being processing, right? Of them processing into the humans they are today. And then if we had the babies ourselves, that process that happens in our bodies. For me, there was so much surrender that I've talked about on the show before, but so much surrender. And again, each kid kind of brings us a new set of learnings, a new series of gifts about ourselves and about life. But unbecoming who I was, in the sense of releasing certain things that were no longer serving me, or releasing temporarily things that I couldn't do as much while I was pregnant. Like, first thing that came to my mind was wine. I still had a little bit of wine towards the end of my pregnancy though. Side note, you're allowed to have wine in a lot of cultural places, like in Europe. It's actually good for your blood. So you're not super anemic and things like that. But anyway, I digress. I love wine. I digress. But what I mean is releasing things like maybe certain things that you would normally do, activities and that kind of thing, just to kind of really focus more inward, if that was your experience. And I think for me, there was a whole new level of surrender and release, and also just creation in the actual birthing process. We did hypnobirthing. Guys, we did so many classes. We literally did over probably 20 something classes, hypnobirthing, and we did all these other types of methods, the Bradley method. And then we did like the hospital classes and anything else we could do. We did baby wearing classes because Like, y'all know, if you've been following the show, I didn't necessarily want kids. I didn't envision that. I didn't feel like I had any sort of maternal ounce in me. And I wanted to really just infuse myself with all the things that would help me be a better mom and be a safe mom too. Because there was like this 4-hour car seat class. Anyway, so in this process, I've noticed that there's a lot of support out there for when we're in the birthing process, when we're in the pregnancy process. There's mother groups afterwards, but I think we focus more on the kids sometimes than on ourselves. And so I wanted to today share some motherhood affirmations that I made up based on my own experience, and hopefully some of them serve you too. I remember that when we were in the birthing stages, getting ready to and prepping for that day, I was looking up birth affirmations and all this kind of stuff. And that there's not hypnobirthing after you have the baby, but some of those things, right? Some of the tools that we get, we could still use in motherhood. I know for me, had I not become a certified professional coach when I was going through that year-long process of going through the coaching program, the tools that I learned in that I would not be showing up the same way as I'm showing now. So everything that we collect in our lives is helping us. It's supporting us moving forward. So I'm going to share the affirmations. And then after that, I'm going to be sharing with y'all. If you're listening in, you'll be able to hear our birth story, our actual birth video story. And then if you're tuning in through YouTube, if you're on the website, cazgaddis.com/podcast, you'll be able to actually see our birth video as well. It's super sweet. Of course, I'm, slightly, slightly, because I'm in it, I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm a little bit more towards that side. But the message and the love story, the love letter that I wrote to my daughter, I feel like it's pretty cool. Because of that, actually, when I first wrote the letter to my daughter, and I had that on top of the video piece, and I did like the audio, right? I decided once I shared it out that it was no longer just about me in that journey. And so I posted it on Facebook to my friends, and then people asked me to make it public so that they could share it. Y'all, in less than a day and a half, I had 7.5 thousand people watch my birth story. Talk about vulnerability, because it was like me all up out there for all these people in like a still safe way. So again, warning, but also it's nothing super crazy. There's a part. But anyway, it was just amazing, though, to be able to share that love and also share what's possible. We had Skylyn in a birth pool. And I think a lot of times, especially if you live in the States, we see birth centers, we see having a midwife or a doula and doing all these things. It's so against the norm, which is like a hospital birth in this bed. And so I was happy to at least hopefully be an example for others of what else is possible too. So with that, let me go through the birth affirmations, and then from there, we'll go right into the birth story. And thank you for tuning in today. I will grab these affirmations and make them a separate little track. That way you can also listen to them without my whole podcast episode beforehand. So you can have them at your disposal. So I love and appreciate my body. I am doing the best I can. I choose who I am being in every moment. I am impacting the next generation by embracing this little one or these little ones today. I am a present parent. Today, I celebrate the wonder and joy alongside my family. It's possible to still be me while being here for them. My thoughts, feelings, and the words I speak create both my energy and my reality. It's okay to fill myself up first so that I can then serve from my overflow. I am willing to ask for help, and when I do, I still got this. Thank you for tuning in to this episode. I hope that you enjoy this video, and that this episode, being shorter and sweeter than most of the other ones as far as length, is also something that can serve you today, so you can kind of listen to as you go about your day and go about all these kids and everything else you have going on. So my heart to you. Happy Monday. If you're listening today, happy week ahead whenever you are listening to it. And you know what? Happy Parentversary for whenever your Parentversary was or when it's coming up. So thank you. It's said that when a child is born, so is a mother. When we arrived at the birth center, I had reservations on if even truly I was in active labor. We were 9 centimeters. At that point, tears of every emotion possible streamed down my cheeks. As we labored at home with our doula, each surge was met with a deep breath in and an exhale. I knew all I could do was continue to trust God and my body in this process. Your dad and I prepared for your arrival throughout the past 10 months and 4 days, plus countless of dozens of hours in classes. We knew nothing would truly prepare us to meet you, though. I was about to enter the water as one and rise out of it as two. Your dad was a perfect birth coach and held space for you and I to figure out our process. Just as my body stretched for you to have safe passage from God's hands into ours, so did my identity and consciousness. Affirmations played continuously in the background and empowered my belief that I was created to create and that my body knew how to give birth. I eagerly moved in different positions, not finding solace in any one position for too long. Right before the final set of waves, I felt this presence, the presence of my grandmother and the lineage of strong women before her, surround my being as I braced myself in the pool for your arrival. Within moments, your eyes connected to ours. You've already taught us so much, sweet little soul. Our birth story was the most profound initiation to miracles that we've experienced. Your birth is the epicenter of my power. You are our greatest coach. Skylyn, your first name is rooted in the strength of your paternal grandmothers. Your middle name, Oriana, is your beginning, dawn of a new era of thought and life into this world. While I birthed you, you must now birth yourself and become the potential you choose. You were born a mermaid in water, and you took your first breaths amidst iridescent bubbles. You were literally born for greatness, and we look forward to many adventures ahead. Thanks for listening to this episode of More Than a Parent. To be your more, live your and.
Continue the conversation and connect at facebook.com/groups/more than a parent.